Hey guys, Dwayne Huff, founder and creator of Take the Stage Band Leadership Seminars, and I'm so glad you joined me here today because I want to talk about the biggest tragedy that happens at the end of every marching season. Now, I don't want you to panic because it doesn't just happen at the end of every marching season. It happens at the end of every project in the corporate world. It happens at the end of every community service event with other student organizations. It happens on college campuses. It happens in high schools across the country. It even happens with principals, with teachers, and it happens with advisors on the college level. The biggest tragedy that I'm talking about that happens at the end of every season is the fact that people don't stop long enough to take the wisdom, the experience, and the perspective of all the success they've had from the past marching season. And I don't want that to be you. I want to share with you today 4 things that you can do. In fact, 4 questions you can ask yourself as a leadership team, as a band director with his leadership team, or as an entire band. 4 questions that will help you to take the wisdom, the experience, the successes, and the opportunities from this past semester and leverage them not only into next marching season, but perhaps into this concert season that you find yourself in, or even into jazz band. So let's get started. Now, as you're doing this, you can push play and I can walk you guys through this, or you can simply take this and work it through with your band. But here we go. Let's start with the first question. The first thing that you want to understand and you fully want to know about what just happened this past season is what went well. Sit down with your people and create a list. Sit down with your people and ask them, and just make it very conversational. It doesn't have to be anything formal. Take 20 minutes, 30 minutes max, and sit down with your people and simply ask them this. What is it that we did this band season that just absolutely blew our minds? That was so successful and so exciting that we want to repeat it again. And then get personal stories, because you know, everybody had a different perspective of what happened and what went on in your show this year. And maybe as band camp was going along and then you moved into the semester and then you went on to competition, everybody had a different perspective about what they really liked about what happened this season. So get that collectively and jot it down. In fact, because we live in an age of technology, here's what I'm going to recommend you do. Take out your iPhone or take out a video camera and use the recording device that's on there just to run as you guys are having this conversation. Why? Because you'll be able to take that archive and then get somebody to transcribe it, or you'll just be able to save that audio or that video so next season, whenever you're in preparation and you're preparing for the band season, you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. You don't have to go and rehash everything that happened. You could simply go to that archive. And if you're looking for a safe place to save it, I'm going to recommend a site that I just stumbled across that I absolutely love. It's called Evernote.com, and I'm putting it right here on the screen for you, www.evernote.com. And you can sign up for this for free, and then you can take that video or that audio and you can just drop it in there so that whenever you guys get ready to prepare for next preseason or next band season, you can simply go back, listen to it or watch it, and get a fresh start for the season that you're about to go into. So make sure you take 20 to 30 minutes as a leadership team or with the band director or with the entire band and find out what you did well. Don't let that go. So many people get in a hurry, then they want to move on to the next exciting thing. They want to move into concert season. They want to move into jazz band, and they fail to realize that the band that you have in place right now will never be the same. You got new freshmen coming in this year. You got seniors that are going to be graduating this year. Do not lose the wisdom of that experience. Bring it into your future so you can be more successful moving forward. So let's look at point number 2, or the second question you want to ask yourself, because once you ask yourself what went well this past season, I want you to take it a little bit deeper and ask this question. How can we leverage what was successful into next year, or into concert season, or into jazz band season? Do not lose the wisdom. Bring it forward with you. And if right now, when it's fresh in your mind, you can sit down and really specify how you want to leverage that next year, then you're going to be so much better off whenever you get that year started. And realize that some of the things you did successfully will carry over into jazz band and into your concert season. So be sure that you ask yourself, how are you going to leverage that specifically? And then sit down together and say, if there's one thing that we could accomplish next marching band season, one goal, if we could accomplish one thing that would just make us the band to be reckoned with, what would it be? Based on what we did this past semester, what goal would we set? And then sit down right there in that moment and set that goal. Now, when you get to the preparation for next year, you may look back over that and say, that's not really what we want to do, but capture it while it's fresh now. It can be invaluable as you move forward. Now, once you've taken a moment to look over the things that you've done successfully from the past year, now it's time to flip the coin and look on the other side of it. And if you're doing this in a group, especially amongst your peers, you want to keep this next question positive. So I took care to word it specifically. And whenever you ask this question, please be very careful to ask the question this specific way. You ready? Here we go. The next question I want you to ask you or yourself or your team is there anything that we would do differently? Notice the word is. Now, why would I ask the question that way? Is there anything that we would do differently? So a way that you might phrase that to your band is to simply say, you know, if we could go back and relive this marching season, is there anything that we do differently? Why is it important to word it that way? That's right, because, you know, we don't want to imply that there's things that were wrong or things that completely fell apart. We want to give full freedom to our people to self-discover some of the things that maybe they could have done better or maybe that could have gone better collectively. So when you ask this question, make sure you ask it that way. So, hey guys, you know, when we look back over this band year, you know, is there anything that we'd want to change, approach differently, or do differently? And the reason this is so valuable is because it gets people talking amongst themselves and fresh ideas come up. Because in the moment they may not have seen it or realized it, but now that you're asking that question, there's something magical about asking questions. Whenever you pose a question to someone, they can't help it. It gets their brain spinning. And whenever you ask this question, you're going to get all kind of things that are going to start to come up. Now, your job as a leader, obviously, is to keep that conversation on a very positive note. But don't minimize anything that comes up. Go ahead and write it down or take notes on it and allow that conversation to ensue. So is there anything that we would do differently if we had that band season to live all over again? And then finally, we get to question number 4. Which is, how can we improve upon or avoid that thing that didn't go so well next year? So if it was something that we decided that we wanted to improve upon or something that we want to avoid happening, action it right now. Figure out exactly how you're going to approach it differently, how it's going to look differently, what we need to avoid or what we need to do to turn it into a success for next year. So I hope this served you. I'm pretty sure that it served you. And I want you to take this information and don't do like so many people will do and move on to the next thing without going back and looking at the wisdom, the insight, and the perspective that you've gained from this past season. So if this has served you, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Leave your comments and or questions below. I answer them personally. And if I don't answer them by a text or an email or by another comment, I may do another video to serve you and to serve anybody else, because I want this to be a place where you can come on a consistent basis to get the answers you're looking for, to share your successes. You know, one of the things when I was in band, but also as I've been in my professional life, that I enjoy about collaborating with and getting together with people of like mind is that you get to share two things. And I invite you to do this with your band every chance you get. You need to share those success stories that you have, because everybody can benefit from them. But you also need to share your war stories. I gave an example. I remember whenever I got finished with my first year of being in Drum and Bugle Corps, I was the drum major for that situation, and there was only one show that we won the entire year. And we left our absolute best show in a parking lot the night before finals. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation with your band, and I hope you never have, but if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a success story, and then there was a war story, or something that didn't go as well as we wanted to. But we didn't stop long enough as an organization to really sit down and farm out what happened and how we could do it differently. So we didn't get to win as much as we want to, and we probably didn't take away the lessons that we should have. And that's what I want to provide here with these videos and in this forum, so that you can come ask the questions and get the answers that you're looking for. So here's the last thing I'm going to invite you to do. Once you've sat down with your band and you've asked those questions, what went well and how are we going to leverage that next year? Or what will we do differently and how are we going to avoid or improve upon that next year? Here's what I'm going to invite you to do, either as a band or as an individual. And if you're a band director, please absolutely feel free to jump in here and contribute to this conversation. And if you're a band leader, I'm not the only one who can bring value to the situations. I want to hear from you. But here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Pick the one thing that you feel was the biggest success from this past marching season, and I want you to put a comment about it or post a video about it, a video comment telling us what that success was, and more specifically, what led up to that success and how you were able to succeed. Because I want everyone, including myself, to be able to benefit from your wisdom and your experience. And then once you've done that, I'm also going to ask you to pick one challenge that you guys have had. Share it with us and how you overcame it. Or if you had a challenge that you weren't able to overcome as best as you want to, post a question here or post it and say, hey, look, here's the challenge that we had and we're still trying to figure out how to make that happen. And I'll do my best to answer it and give you the best solution I can find, but here's the thing, it may not come from me. It may come from somebody else, one of your peers out there across the country who's had a similar experience and they're able to serve you in that way. Again, my name is Dwayne Huff, founder and creator of Take the Stage Band Leadership Seminars, where we prepare leaders to inspire superior performance. Look forward to talking to you guys next time. Leave your comments and I will talk to you soon.